His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Acharya Das Thakur ki jai, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत राधा शिव सदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, समावेश भक्तवृंद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल. All glories to assembly, all glories to assembly, Hare Krishna, all glories to assembly, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Garuda, all glories to Shri Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So Srimad Bhagavatam 7th Canto Chapter 3 Text 19. Naitat Purvashayas Chakrur Na Karishyati Chapare Nirambur Dharayet Prana Ko Vai Divya Samaha Shatam Naitat Purvashayas Chakrur Nakarishanti Chapare Nirambur Dharayet Pranam Kovai Divya Samashatam Naitat Purvashayas Chakrur Nakarishanti Chapare Nirambur Dharayet Pranam Kovai Divya Samashatam
Naitat Purvashayas Chakrur Nakarishanti Chapare Nirambur Dharayet Pranam Kovai Divya Samashatam
Naitat Purvashayas Chakrur Nakarishanti Chapare Nirambur Dharayet Pranam Kovai Divya this is wrong. Divya Samahasatam
No. Etat. This. Purvarishaya. The sages before you. Such as Brigu. Chakru. Executed. More. Karishyanti. Will execute. Cha. Also. Apare. Others. Nirambu. Without drinking water. Dharayet. Can sustain. Pranam. Life air. Kaha. Who. Vai. Indeed. Divya Samaha. Celestial years. Shatam. 100. Translation. Even saintly persons like Brigu, born previously, could not perform such severe austerities, nor will anyone in the future be able to do so. Who within these three worlds can sustain his life without even drinking water for 100 celestial years? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It appears that even if a yogi does not drink a drop of water, he can live for many years by the yogic process, so his outer body be eaten by ants and moth. I'd like to read the next one also because to go a little bit more. Yavasayana tendina dushkare namanasinam taponishtina bhavata jitoham ditinandana. My dear son of Diti, with your great determination and austerity, you have done what is impossible, even for great saintly persons, and thus I have certainly been conquered by you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In regard to the word jitaha, Srila Madhva Muni gives the following quotation from the Shakta Nirnaya. Parabhutam vashashtam chajitam hi uchate buddhayi. If one comes under someone else's control or is defeated by another, he is called jitaha. Hiranyakashipu's austerity was so great and wonderful that even Lord Brahma agreed to be conquered by him. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinam Namaste Saraswati Devam Guravani Prachana Nirvishesha Shnevari Pushkati Sataram. Even saintly persons like Bhrigu, born previously, could not perform such severe austerities, nor will anyone in the future be able to do so. Who within the three worlds can sustain his life without even drinking water for 100 celestial years? My dear son of Diti, with your great determination and austerity, you have done what was impossible, even for great saintly persons, and thus I have certainly been conquered by you. So austerity is the subject here, and such austerity is exhibited by Hiranyakashipu, as Brahma is pointing out here. Nobody was able to do before, and nobody will be able to do in the future. So this is beyond our perception. We know what it means to fast one day. It makes generally people very tense and very agitated. One day without, food and drink is already very, very agitating. And here we have Hiranyakashipu, who was doing it, for 100 celestial years. Celestial years, that's a completely different time frame. So you cannot even imagine, or absolutely cannot imagine what that means. Nevertheless, it's the purpose of the austerity which finally defines its quality. Therefore, even Krishna defines it in the Upanishad that those who may be very, very austere, and there is a certain taste in it also. Like austerity is the riches of the Brahmanas. We cannot imagine Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. They cannot imagine what is bliss in austerity. But Brahmana can. There's a certain taste in it. And that taste is actually a sense gratification. Because by being very austere, you become very distinct. And this is what Hiranyakashipu here really became distinct, because nobody else before and nobody else after can do such an austerity. So becoming distinct is just another form of sex life. So actually it's sense gratification. And Krishna actually goes even further in Vijayapasha. He's such a person who performs this kind of austerities, not to please me, but actually for material purposes. They torment the soul. They're actually torturing the soul, because they are denying the soul its original quality to be eternally blissful and full of knowledge. Nevertheless, the principle is there, that without austerity nothing can be achieved in this world. Everybody has to perform some sort of austerity. Even the very, very lazy people, they are also, like example, you are very lazy, you don't want to follow the principle, you should work to maintain the body and soul together. Well, you end up sleeping in paper packages or something like this, Homeless people do that. They sleep in containers and they sleep in, in paper packages, and things like this, or just in a filth, Well, that's no austerity. There's, in one sense, from external appearance, it looks sometimes very similar. A yogi and a homeless person, they look very similar. Because they are not concerned with the external appearance of the body. So such a kind of austerity, the homeless austerity, is not very impressive to Krishna. But it's simply filthy, that's all. Or some people defined austerity as justification for their incompetence. I'm very austere. I don't do this. Yeah, because we cannot do that. We have not the ability. Some people say, I don't need money. I'm a very simple person. I don't like money. Because they cannot make any. There are even people who say, no, I don't need sex life. It's true. They look like almost brahmacharis. Because they also are social. And they are so selfish. That they are not ready to serve, to share even a minimum of physical comfort with others. So they look very austere. You know. Because sex life means, you have to give something. And the other person also has to give something. You know, they have to share something. There's an exchange of services on some level. You know, no, not even that. I'm very austere. Could call it in a Nordic context the Amundsen syndrome. There was a gentleman called Amundsen, and he was so austere. He marched towards the North Pole, practically on the level of Hiranyakashipu. Just walking, you know, eating dried fish, and even that. Sometimes, you know, they had dogs to pull the, you know, the equipment. It's the only thing which works in that climate. You know, sometimes there was, in such a critical situations, they were eating even the dogs. And they walk on foot, with the equipment on the back. And then there was some magic place called the North Pole. I mean, it's just a pile of ice, you know. I mean, I wouldn't find the North Pole. It's just another piece of ice, you know. But they could measure the magnetic field. Oh, this is the North Pole. And they put a Norwegian flag there. That's the North Pole. And they marched back and they died and they got their limbs frozen and cut off and, you know, why was that to do such a thing? For what? To put a Norwegian flag in a piece of ice. That's it. But I did it. I am austere. Now it's very dangerous to project this mentality into Krishna consciousness because it is completely anti-Krishna consciousness. It's nothing to do with Krishna consciousness because that kind of austerity is based on personal incompetence, or social incompetence, material incompetence. And that's manifested sometimes in Prabhupada defines it, that devotees of this kind, they come to Krishna consciousness, they get enlivened, they get more comfortable, and sometimes, believe it or not, you get offered things which you could never achieve in a material world. Never. Like example, you get offered an audience. Like example, I'm sitting here and you are sitting there, you are listening and I can talk and, you know, I doubt I would get it when I would be not a devotee. I doubt that. I tried even until I was 18 years old to get audience of some sort. It doesn't really work, you know, so easily. Because there are so many who try also. You know, especially somebody who is really going for being distinct, even distinctly austere. It's called artist. You know, you exhibit some creations of yours and you wait for the audience to come so you can give a lecture and you can explain what your mental opulences are. You know, there's nobody coming really. You know, people come and go, oh, what is this? Oh, and they walk out again. You know, and you go, well, that's the work of my life, you know. All my genius is invested into this canvas or into this sculpture or into whatever it is. You know, yeah. And they don't appreciate it. What is this? These idiots, you know, yeah. Another one expresses himself in a literary form or a painting or sculpture or doing something. But the idea is the same. I'm so distinct, I'm so unique. Now in Krishna consciousness it's very tempting because you get these things served so easily. You know, let's say you are suddenly authority. In the material world to be authority is not so funny. And you have to Especially nowadays, society, we have to study in a university to empty out garbage cans. You know, everything is complicated. They make the life so complicated that they cannot even have a sex life without going studying. You know, they cannot eat without studying. They cannot sleep without studying. They cannot empty out the garbage can without studying. You know, empty out garbage became a very, very complicated thing. I just studied 3 garbage cans arriving in the middle of the countryside. You know, I think in Denmark they have it probably also by now, that as soon you own a house, then you get the garbage cans in front of the door. It's administered by the government. But really fancy ones, you know, and you have to sort things out all the time. The toothpick goes over here, and the, you know, and the garbage can is divided in little garbage cans, and then comes the garbage company, and they study what you put in the very bag, and then they empty it out in individual garbage cans. I heard by the end of the day they are so finished, they drive it to one big garbage heap and throw it all in one pile. So much for the ecological sorting things out, you know. Or sometimes they throw it just in a huge oven and burn it off, you know. And ultimately this whole universe is a huge oven, it will be burned all very ecologically, don't worry. Krishna has his own concept of garbage cleanup, you know. He just lightens up the whole sink, burns the whole sink, and then he flushes it out with water, and that's it. This is the end of the ecological disposal of this universe. So material nature is in itself already completely ecologically designed. But we, the conditioned souls, we divide it into our own version of ecology. We have to make our own rules, and we get completely entangled. So even empty out garbage, not easy. It's very difficult to go to study. There's books for everything. I just had the privilege to burn out 1,500 books or something, 2,000 books in one pile. Not easy, I tell you. To burn books is not easy. Because it's compressed. You know, they are like bricks. So I chanted the shloka from Bhagavatam. It's all just food for crows. So I burned a big pile of, you cannot imagine, just by throwing these books in the fire, so the titles just, what kind of books people publish? You know, can you imagine there are books about how to fight with cushion in a bed? You know, people beat each other with their cushions in the bed, sometimes out of fun. And there's books about that, how to do that. There's a Japanese art, how to fight with cushions in the bed. They publish books about that. You know, can you imagine? It's just the work that goes into such a book, and it's not easy to publish any book, we know that. And then they see our books and they go, what is this? Well, what's the use of this? I have to study my books, how to fight with cushions in a bag. You know. I mean, what people cannot publish about books, just in that frame, you know. It's unbelievable where the human brain can go. You know, fighting with cushions in a bed, or how to counsel dogs, you know. You have to become a psychiatrist to counsel a dog. He's emotionally distressed, you know. You know, it's ridiculous. What are issues and subjects and themes, endless. So that makes you very, very convinced that we really have something to give to people. And we have only one austerity in Krishna consciousness. There's only one austerity. And all other austerities are derived from that. And that's following the instruction of the spiritual master, which can be comprised again in one instruction, to spread Krishna consciousness. There's nothing more to do. There's only this, and everything else is to it. You cannot spread Krishna consciousness if you live like a monkey. Monkeys are spreading just garbage. They aren't spreading Krishna consciousness. Therefore, we try to regulate our lives, we try to control the senses, we try to live like decent human beings, because without that you cannot spread anything. And that's austerity, yeah. Austerity from what? From one's own concepts. It wasn't my idea to spread Krishna consciousness. It was not my idea to simply repeat what somebody else said. I want to say something. To be distinct. And that brings us out of Krishna consciousness. Despite all the academic erudition, all this, when that attitude is not established, we will sooner or later leave Krishna consciousness. Because it's not to be tolerated. Always be in a service of somebody else's ideas. I want my own idea. Actually, the secret you can discover that by following Krishna's ideas, Krishna is not a miser at all. He has a whole wonderful field of action for us prepared under his guidance. But Krishna is so kind, he is not envious. You shut up and listen and sit here. Don't move. No. He wants us to do so many things. And Krishna is very even enjoying the individual freedom of the living entity. He demonstrated when he lives in Dwarka, surrounded by so many members of society. Everybody is doing something, but in a very different way. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, it's all manifested there. And everybody expresses their devotion in a different way. And Krishna enjoys that, yes. Oh, that's how you serve me. Oh, that's very nice. He gives even the yogis the freedom to invent even a whole universe. If you have that kind of merit, that kind of tapasya, you can do that. But again, he is so liberal that he gives them even the freedom to actually oppose him and act in a separatistic way. Why do you speak of those who wants to serve him? I mean, look at Narada Muni, what a freedom. What a traveling agency. No visa, nothing. Just goes even between the material world and the spiritual world, which is normally absolutely not possible. You have material body, material world, spiritual body, spiritual world. But Narada Muni just goes back and forth like this. That's called real freedom. And and he can meet all kinds of foul people and discuss this and discuss that, and that's freedom. As Prabhupada writes, he defines sadhana bhakti like this. In the beginning, restriction is absolutely necessary for this one purpose, to get us away from this separatistic mentality. It wasn't my idea to get up in the morning. It was not my idea to ring the bells like this. It was not I surrendered because Krishna wants that. Prabhupada actually, I just heard a lecture, he says, very nice. He compares a conditioned soul with actually a broken car. A car which doesn't start. The body is just this, So Prabhupada said such a car has to be pushed. And that's called sadhana bhakti. It's a push. But that's not the end of the story. I remember once in Delhi, in front of a hotel, having this unique, experience. We parked in front of a hotel with an ambassador. That was those days, it's quite some years ago. My wife was sitting in a car, and she is, women sometimes are very specific in their sorts of allergies, So she was absolutely hilariously allergic to any car fumes. Well, that's the wrong place to be in Delhi, because Delhi is just packed with car fumes. So she was already so nervous. And the man went into the hotel to investigate if there is a room or something like this, and he left the car running. So she immediately just reached in front and switched the car off. And the man in panic came running out of the set and said, Madame, not switching, it's a push car. It's a push car, Actually, anytime I mention this to some Indians, they laugh because they heard that term. It's quite common in India, push car. That means a car which doesn't drive. Prabhupada told me, in Mayapur, push car, no problem. They don't have even batteries in this car sometimes, or something which is similar to battery, but it's not. So the car doesn't start, it's to be pushed. He told me even buses sometimes are like that. It's a push bus. It's not a push car, it's a push bus. So there's 60 people, pushing, and then the bus starts, and they don't even bother to improve that. It's established. This is a push car and this is a push bus. So we end up with a push car. The man was in panic Fortunately, the road to the reception was a little bit leveled out, so the car could level down again. So it was easy to push the push car, so he could start again. So this is sadhana. It's push car. You push, but then that's not the end of the story. It's not supposed to push cars around like this. Prabhupada gives an example. One is supposed to start the engine. And when the engine is started, then you are supposed to drive on your own, actually. But on your own doesn't mean in Krishna consciousness being independent. Actually, as a matter of fact, the symptom of progress in Krishna consciousness is that we are more and more dependent. As I think Sanatana or Rupa Goswami says, I'm chanting the holy name, totally dependent only on the holy name, on the Maha Mantra, and this way I'm surviving from one minute to another. It's just like the only way to survive. So this is a real bhakti. To live an entire dependence on the holy name, on Krishna, on his pure devotee. This is actually what real bliss is. The people don't know that, because they always have the attitude, no, I have to do it my way. I have to interpret Bhagavatam my way. I have to write my own edition of Bhagavad Gita, my own thing. I did it. And I tell you quite frankly, when you become older, it gets worse. There's so many old idiots walking on this planet who are in desperate need before they die to make the ultimate print into the earth. Some monument which they leave as a legacy behind for the others to admire. The psychologists know that. They know, oh, he reached 50. Now he is heading for 60. He is becoming an idiot. The kind of desperate need, which manifests in a various ways. The Shudras, they want to make something, they want to construct something which people go, oh, who did that? Who did this amazing chair? And they go, well, that was my